Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Hello loyals, welcome back to Willows Workshops. Episode 3 of 3, mask making, sewing your mask together. They will be original production, and this is your 3-piece pocket face mask. It's taken us a bit of time to get this far, so let me show you how it was done. This is our nose piece. We are going to turn it over, pattern side down, and create a hem along the flat edge. I work left to right, folding as I go. So fold it, go ahead and pin that there, pin it there, in the center, and then pin it at the end. And we are going to run it through the sewing machine, putting a stitch in it along the flat edge, right here. So are you ready to head over to the sewing machine? Go ahead and tuck your hemline in underneath the foot of your sewing machine, advance your needle, go ahead and do a reverse stitch. Reversing your stitch is always great. It ensures that your seam does not come apart. As you advance your fabric through the machine, go ahead and hold it steady so that it doesn't come apart, and when you reach the other end, do another reverse seam. I will cover more thorough sewing basics in another tutorial, so please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way you can be in tune with all of our future content. And this is what your finished product looks like. Moving on to the chin piece, we are going to repeat much of the same process. Also opening your chin pocket piece, pattern side down, and pinning it here, here, and of course at the end. And we are going to run it through the sewing machine, putting a stitch in it along the flat edge. So are you ready to head over to the sewing machine? Go ahead and tuck your hemline in underneath the foot of your sewing machine, advance your needle, go ahead and do a reverse stitch. As you advance your fabric through the machine, go ahead and hold it steady so that it doesn't come apart, and when you reach the other end, do another reverse seam. And this is what your finished product looks like. Now we are going to create the seam that covers your nose. So we want to make sure that the pattern is on the inside of our fold and put a seam along the short curved edge. Alright, so let's hop over to that sewing machine. Starting at your fold and stitching out, go ahead and put a reverse stitch in it. As you follow through to the end, put another reverse stitch in your nose pocket piece. Up next is your chin pocket piece, and we are going to fold the pattern side in and put a seam along our curved edge. So let's pop over to that sewing machine. I don't really sew this fast, so this is where I value your time and speed up the video. We are going to jump over to our full face piece and repeat the same process. This side is our chin, so we are going to put our edge underneath our foot, repeating the same process we did before, running a stitch all the way through to the edge. As this comes to the end, I am going to flip it around and repeat the same process with the nose side of our full face mask. Remember to start at the fold, do your reverse stitches, and then follow your seam all the way through to the end. Wow everybody, go ahead and give yourselves a high five because we are almost there. But right now I have to show you how to do darts. In all of the places that we just made seams, we want to create a gap. See how the fabric buckles at the seam under movement? So we just snip a little snip in the fabric right there, see? That way it has a bit of flexibility without buckling. We are going to do the same thing in these little corners over here. See the corners that we made with our seam? Careful not to cut any sewing that we did, of course, because this is what keeps our fabric pattern together. I just want to say thank you for bearing with the camera angle, as this is the first time I had ever created a video like this. Repeat the same process with all of our pieces, making sure that we clean up all of our edges and that the inside of our mask feels comfortable and smooth. Now that we have a seam, I want the seam to lay flat, so I'm going to spread the fabric apart at the seam, do that on the nose and the chin side, and then go ahead and do that also with the nose and chin pieces. Now that we've come this far, we are going to match all of our seams together, from our nose mask piece to our nose pocket piece. And what we want to do is match all of our pattern sides together. Go ahead and line up the seam on your nose piece and the nose of your mask piece, making sure that the two pattern sides meet. Go ahead and give it a little pin right here in the middle, and matching both fabrics together, go ahead and pin it all along the left side of the center and the right side of the center. See how we brought those two pieces together and have created the inside out of your mask. So we are going to repeat the same process with the chin pocket piece, attaching that to the chin side of your face mask. And go ahead and pin that in the middle. Matching your edges, go ahead and pin all along to your left and all along to the sides on your right. All along this area that looks like a railroad track is where we are going to be running our seam with our sewing machine, and that's on both sides of our face mask, the chin side and the nose side. So let's pop over to the sewing machine and put this bad boy together. We're at the sewing machine. Okay, so let's get our mask open because we are going to run a seam along the train tracks we created with our needles. Line up the edge of the mask with your sewing machine foot pedal. Go ahead and loosen any wrinkles or fold that might hinder your sewing path. Spread your seams and make sure that they lay flat. And go ahead and advance those the rest of the way through your sewing machine. Don't forget your reverse stitch. So now we are going to flip it over to the chin side of our mask and repeat the exact same process. I don't know, maybe you guys would like a theme song for this part of our journey also. Sewing, yeah, we're sewing. Woohoo, yeah, we're sewing. Well, would you look at that? Now we have a floppy face mask. So going back to our nose seam, now we are going to turn the fabric right side in, making sure that it's snug and both sides lay flat together. We're going to pin it right here in the nose. We are going to do the same thing, pinning the chin side of the mask right there in the center of the seam. And once we get that finished, we want to spread the inside of our pocket pieces to the inside of our face mask, making sure they fit snug together, and give it a pin right there in the very center of the mask. So now that our mask is right side in, we want to follow all along the seam that we just created, making sure that they're straight, they're even, they're snug, they fit nicely and neatly together, they look pretty. We are going to run them through the sewing machine, securing another hem. So I guess if you're ready, then I'm ready. Come on, let's go. Links to Willows Workshops and Powered by Trauma merchandise can be found in the description below. So now with our seams pressed tightly, we are going to put our final decorative hem along the outer edge of our face mask. Make sure that when you get to the nose and the chin hem, that you slow down and unwrinkle any bulges or creases that you may be folding into your fabric. And once we're done doing this to both sides, we are going to take this over to the table and put some straps in it. So go ahead and make sure that your mask pocket pieces are still tucked firmly into your face mask. And along this edge right here, we are going to create a hem, just one fold. Hold it securely, and then we are going to add our strap along that edge. Hold that securely and then fold that over. We are going to make sure that the strap is tucked firmly against the fold because we are going to put a seam right along this edge right here. So go ahead and pin it there and pin it there. That way it holds securely. Make sure that your pocket piece is still tucked in firmly, and switch it over to do the other side. Create your fold, lay your strap along your hem, go ahead and fold that over, make sure that it's snug, and pin it. So right here before I do the final sew, I am just making sure that everything lines up evenly. Alright, let's see the sewing machine for 2 more hems. Alright, so here we want to be very careful that we don't accidentally run our needle and our seam through our strap, because then it will not be adjustable. So for this section, I am sewing with a cross stitch. The needle moves sideways back and forth, creating a diagonal angle with the thread that crosses from one side of the hem to the other. That creates a little bit more of a sturdy seam line, seeing as how there's so much bulk adding pressure to the stitch. Don't forget to do your reverse stitches and run your seam line all the way off the edge of your mask. At this point, you do not want it to come unraveled and fall off of your face because we are finished. Of course, we are going to flip this over and do it to the other side. And while I'm sewing the other side, feel free to like the video, subscribe. All of your engagement really helps a small channel like mine grow. So what I am doing now is trimming all of the extra little threads and hairs and little pieces. I'm doing a quality inspection review, making sure that my stitches are straight, my straps are adjustable. My clients will be happy. They can smile underneath this confounded contraption. Here's your pocket. Yeah, everything looks great. That's it, we're finished. High five. Well, what do you guys want to do next? Thank you for enjoying Willow's Workshops. I'm grateful for the time that you shared with me, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.